Today, I thought I would talk about a reading group, a computational biology reading group that my colleagues, Dr. Paul Castellano, Dr. Matt Hershey, and I started a few months ago. And the goal, and this is a meeting group, this is a reading group that meets every couple of weeks, and we live stream our meetups, and those sessions are also recorded, and there's a YouTube playlist that is dedicated to this on the CCT, as part of the CCT YouTube account. The goal of this, the objective of this reading group is to create, is to get together people who are interested in acquiring skills that will help them analyze their own data and also analyze kind of biological big data in general. And to help us deliver this material, we developed an R package. And that's really what I'll be talking about and describing in the next few minutes. Coincidentally, there's this paper here called The Tools and Recommendations for Reproducible Teaching that was published just last week by Professor Meena Chentakaya-Randell, who I believe is the next speaker. She published it with a colleague of hers. And the recommendation of this paper is that just as it's a good idea to have research be reproducible, it's a good idea to have teaching be reproducible. And they point to three so-called pillars of reproducible teaching: openness, documentation, as in it's supposed to be well documented, and reproducible. And I hope to show you that the approach that we are adopting achieves all three goals, or at least tries to achieve all three goals. And so this is what the package that I mentioned that we've developed for this reading group, it lives on the CCT GitHub page, and it's called CBRG, Computational Biology Reading Group, and it looks like this. So one of the three pillars is that it should be well documented, and we have a README page, and that describes what this package is, how to use it, both to teach and to teach others potentially, and to self-teach. And it is open because this is a public GitHub repo, and it is reproducible because this is a public repository. You can fork this repository if you like, and then use it for your own purposes. You can submit a pull request if you want to change something or add something. You're welcome to do that. The easiest thing to do, though, is what I'm going to demonstrate now. Let's say you're just happy with this package and you just want to use it. The requirements we have for both using this package to both teach others and to potentially just learn are that you have obviously a computer with a stable internet connection, the programming language R, and this thing that you can see here, RStudio, which is an example of an integrated development environment. And all of those things, well, RStudio and R are really easy to install. So once you have that, and this is how we begin every meetup, we open up RStudio, and you can see a console here. And the first thing we do is we always install this package, or rather, in my case, reinstall it, because we update this package. And with just this one line, it should hopefully download pretty quickly. It will take a little bit of time, because as over the last few weeks, as we've had more and more meetups, this package has become bigger and bigger, which I guess is a good problem to have. So it should download pretty quickly. But in the meantime, if this is your first time seeing RStudio, it's a wonderful tool, and it makes programming really easy. So that's it. So we've downloaded it, and then we load our package. And this package has a few what we hope are useful functions, that allow you to do useful things. One thing is we can launch a project associated, we can launch a script associated with a given meetup. So we just use this function called launch_project, and then give it the number of the meetup. So I put in 13 because that was the most recent meetup. And our most recent meetup was on an introduction to single-cell RNA sequencing, which is quite an advanced topic in general, and especially advanced if this is your first time doing this kind of analysis. And we hope that by having this package, all you have to do is, once you've loaded the package, just run that function, and then you get this script here that has all of the additional packages that you need to install to do this analysis. It also has links to what we hope are some useful resources. And actually, since this is a demonstration, I'm just going to go ahead and run this while I describe what the script does, or what we can use the script for. And so we see we have hopefully useful links to different resources. We typically use some kind of book, and that's usually online and freely available as our guide. And so there's this book, a link to this book here, developed by the Sangha Institute for a course that they ran a couple of years ago on single-cell RNA sequencing. Importantly, we also have links to where you can download the data. And we try our best to do demonstrations using quote-unquote real-life data. And so the data that we've just downloaded, this corresponds to, as I said, single-cell RNA sequencing data that was collected and is associated with a study that was published. So we already know what the results of the study are and what kinds of analyses were done. And so we can try as a goal to reproduce that, which is kind of a fun exercise. Then we see here that we try to document our code as well as possible. So ideally, this is done with some kind of guidance, which is what we hope to provide during our meetups. But we also hope that these scripts are not entirely self-explanatory, but can help you go through it just by yourself. And I also mentioned that we record these sessions. So one way in which I envision people can benefit from this kind of asynchronously is to download the package, launch a script, and then maybe put up the recording, play the recording on their phones, and they can watch the recording while they code. And we also have a couple of other features. I'll just mention one. So you can see here we have just kind of empty chunks where we just ask questions, but we don't actually provide the code. And that's to help the learner try out some of their new skills. But in case you don't know the answer or you want to look up an answer, you can use the launch_project function again. And then we have a parameter called show answers. And all we have to do is set it to be true. And then that launches another script, which is identical to the previous one, except this is complete with all the code for all the questions. So, before I finish, I would like to acknowledge the funding that we've received for this project that was provided by, it was a Duke faculty seed grant that was given to us generously by the Office for Faculty Advancement. And with that, I will stop sharing and yeah.